Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Here Be Dragons. I am your host, Stephen Stark. No John, no Nessie this week. They both had work-related things where they couldn't be here, but I'm very happy to be joined by returning friend William. And please give a warm welcome, first time to the channel, Stef Lioness, who I've known through Twitter for quite a while now, but it's nice to have you on the channel. Are we drinking alcohol right now?
I am. I'm having a cheeky margarita. So
nice.
The best kind, a cheeky kind.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on the show, by the way. It's really fun to be on here.
A genuine pleasure to have you.
Long time listener, first time caller.
And this is like my second time on, but the first one was just briefly as in the HereBeCon.
Yeah, it was. Oh, that was. Yeah. Well, still. I guess you've just been around long enough. I thought I had you on before, but I thought I had you on for something D&D related before.
That was the rest of the crew. I wasn't able to make that day.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, memory not always the sharpest. It's fine. I love you, William. You're my...
Love you too. You know. I'm here for a good topic, though. I'm excited about Stranger Things.
Speaking of a good topic, we got some Stranger Things up in the house. Have you guys been fans since season 1?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love cosmic horror, and as soon as I saw it was coming out on Netflix, I was immediately interested.
I wasn't sure about it at first. I had someone talked about it and said it's really. Am I allowed to swear on this channel? Is that okay?
I never censor my guests.
Okay. They said to me it's really fucking scary and you'll need to watch something funny afterwards. And they were right, because I think it was the first time I'd watched something on a channel like Netflix where it's, kind of something quite dark. I think it had never really I'd seen anything that dark and definitely gory and gross on something as kind of mainstream as Netflix before. Normally I have to go deep into the dark web for my fix of horror. Yeah, it was definitely hooked me from the first episode. Definitely.
Same. I was under the impression I had covered Stranger Things on this channel before, but we haven't. I think I was on somebody else's channel to talk about it at some point. But yeah, I love the show too. Have every season. The addition of the sort of D&D elements are a big draw for me.
Absolutely.
I'm wearing my Dungeon Master t-shirt. Big D&D nerd. That's how I know William to begin with.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, friend of a friend of a friend put me together. We
played
D&D together.
That's awesome.
Do you play any D&D stuff?
Of course I do. Of course. Yes, I do. Well, I haven't played it for a while actually, because everyone in my group decided to move internationally, and stupidly, so it's been really hard to get together to play. But we had a Star Wars campaign for 2 years, and actually an occult one set in the 80s too, which made this extra fun because watching Stranger Things, because this is really it was a completely different kind of campaign, but it was a cold and it was 80s, and I played a New York it was set in New York, so I was a full New Yorker having my bagels in the morning. I think best part of D&D is the accents, right? And the voices. So
yeah, you should hear my dwarves.
Oh, please, can we hear the dwarves?
I have a dwarf character who talks like this. Basically, I do my best Sam Neill impersonation.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Or not Sam Neill, Sam Elliott.
Yeah, that's really good. I could listen to him telling bedtime stories for days. That voice, that'd be amazing.
But yeah, so that was a big draw for me personally, was the D&D stuff for the show overall. But I feel like they turned even that up a little bit this season.
Absolutely. Well, that big dramatic scene at the end of episode 1, where they're very dramatically rolling dice, was definitely bringing it up.
And you know what? That had the feel of what you get at the table sometimes. If I'm being real, Just as a for instance, we wrapped up a campaign last weekend where our fighter rolled a crit to finish the dragon, and it was one of those jump up in the air, goosebumps type moments. But it was also, as you say, juxtaposed really nicely with the true sports moments of the basketball game and the horror of what was going on later. I don't know. I love this show. I love this show. So how do you guys want to talk about this? Do you have you know what? I'll tell you, favorite character, because there's a lot of great characters. So I'm going to ask you favorite character and then favorite new character this season.
Oh, that's hard.
Favorite character is definitely 11.
Okay.
Followed pretty closely by Max. I mean, it's hard to beat the mysterious girl who has telekinetic powers and can open portals to other dimensions and fight monsters. All while trying to figure out how to be normal after she's been abused for her entire life. And continues to get abused all through this season by bullies, which was very frustrating.
Yeah. Those bullies they deserve that punch in the face.
Yeah. Yeah, she did.
I think I said, God, I hope she punches them. And then she did. And I was like, oh, with a roller skate. Okay. That's maybe a bit far, but fair enough. They were being
brutal.
Horrible.
I mean, they had just destroyed her in front of tons of people.
Yeah, they deserve it. Not that I'm advocating violence or anything like that.
Right.
But I think that's the fun thing about D&D in a way, is that it can bring out the side of you that does want to do those things, that does. And I think probably all nerds have been bullied at some point in their life, and it's that side of you that wants to have that, be able to roll that natural 20 and just fucking defeat that boss bitch and just go in there and be like, I wish I had magical powers right now, or or I've got a fake lightsaber right here, and sometimes I think I'm just like, why can't it be real? Why can't I just go and take down some dickheads with my lightsaber and really have amazing powers? So I feel like she represents a lot of that for us, and I think someone just said in the chat 11 is the answer, and I think she probably will be. I actually do wonder if she might die at the end of this season.
No.
We've got one more season to go. Maybe
so that's where I'm at with William. There's another season coming.
There's another season 5. Okay, she's gonna die at the end of the story, though.
Maybe.
Yeah. I think they'll
ask me before the finale on next season.
Yeah,
because she's gonna what's the word? How can she assimilate into the real world now? How is that possible for her to become a normal teenager? She's going to need a lot of therapy, basically, a lot.
Oh yeah.
Or will she be stripped of her powers forever? I mean, how can there be for example, the producers I think have said that they're not going to go past 1988 because that's when Winona Ryder's career actually took off, and it would be too much of a kind of meta gaming situation for the characters, because it's set in the real world. So if they're taking that as real world, then we couldn't have a person really, unless she goes deep underground, who has super amazing magical powers. Although I love her, but I feel like, is she my favorite character? I don't know. I kind of love Will.
Okay, that's fair.
He's got this quietness to him that I think he's going to become a key player, because he was the main kind of possessed person, shall we say, in the first series and the second season. I don't know. I think he's got a lot coming up. He's got that piece of art that he's done. That's
sort of like one of those things that's hanging in the air.
Yeah.
Because we haven't gotten to see it yet.
No. Yeah. But I don't know who my favorite is. I don't know if I've got a favorite really. Elle is amazing.
I'm a Dustin guy. I love that.
Yeah, Dustin's really fun.
Yeah,
and he's getting better and better too as the seasons go on.
Yeah. He and his girlfriend Susie are just the loveliest. I love them so much.
Which for me also means that my favorite new character from this season is Argyle. I don't ask me why, but that guy makes me
somehow just the quintessential weed guy. They took every single possible stereotype, stuck them into him, and still made a really fun and engaging character.
Yeah, although he has pineapple on his pizza.
That's not a bad thing. I will defend that.
No.
There's got to be good pineapple on good pizza, though. I had some Pizza Hut pizza with it on there, and oh my god, that was terrible.
Okay, yes, I'm really glad you said that was terrible. Otherwise, I was going to judge that.
That's actually one of those things I don't feel too strongly about. One way or the other, like I'll eat it, but I don't order it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I could. There's a really lovely pizzeria near us, owned by Italian people, and they have put pineapple on one of the pizzas. I think just to cater to like the less pizzery Italian taste buds. So I might try it. But yeah, Argyle is great. I'd like Susie a lot, although she's not new this season. And Robin,
not technically.
No, but so she's had more screen time. And I like Robin. I really liked her last season. I feel like she's not had as much to do this season. She's kind of like a sort of background making jokes kind of person. Although she did do the great speech that got them into the what's it called? The institution.
Yes.
He did the speech that was like that got them in there, which was great.
Was such a great moment for her.
Yeah, which was amazing. Basically, she's right. Bras hurt. So.
Well, and she's got she's got her own storyline that I'm sure will wrap up at least to some degree or other in the 2 episodes that haven't come out yet, where she's she's got the crush on the other girl in band, and
yeah,
they definitely dropped that, kind of left that hanging once the action kicked off.
Maybe the band will come in and have to save the day because of music.
Ooh,
yeah,
maybe not the worst idea I've heard.
Yeah, okay.
We have established that music is important. And boy, I tell you what, I guarantee you, Kate Bush is super happy about this show being out.
Oh yeah. Well, apparently she never lets anyone use her music in shows. Like she's really difficult about it. But actually, she loved the show, and she was really happy for them to use her song. In fact, I'd say maybe Kate Bush is my favorite character from this season.
Okay, she did save Max after all.
She did. I love Max actually. Maybe Max is my favorite character, and I have to say that because I've got red hair, so therefore all the redhead characters get 10 extra points to me.
Ginger bias.
Bias, exactly. It's a real bias. It's a thing. But she's great. I like her tomboyishness. And that montage in episode 4 where they play the music for her and she sees all her friends. I mean, that was just like, that got me in the feels. That did, because it was really beautiful. Just like the flashbacks had been so dark, like visually dark, and then the arrangement of that music was lovely. They orchestrated it with other musicians in the background. And it was a really nice. I wish they'd released that version of the song actually from when she was in the Upside Down, because they had a different.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I bet they will. That's going to get out somewhere, somehow, some way.
Yeah.
I like how Kelly here is not saying anything about the redhead bias. She is our, our resident jaded redhead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't get enough like good airtime.
Oh, believe me, redheads have their place in my heart. Trust me.
Well, as a big fan of A Song of Ice and Fire, basically all the best characters in it have red hair as well. So
that's George for you.
Yep.
That's true. He loves a redhead.
Yeah, Max, even since her introduction in season 2, just being the driver and get them to and from places, and then being probably one of the core parts of the storyline in this season has been really fun getting to know her even more. You just got a lot of spunk and energy that really adds to the party. Yeah,
definitely. I think they've got some actually great female characters in it anyway, which is really nice to see. that, because a lot of the time, in lots of 80s movies in particular,
I
grew up on, it's the girls just go, so what do we do? What's your plan? Save me.
Right. Not a lot of that going on in this show.
No. What episode was it where Robin and Nancy go off on their own and unlock a critical clue?
Where they go talk
the
to
asylum.
Victor Creel.
Yeah, Creel.
That's in the Dear Billy episode.
Yes.
Where because that's the one where Max gets hypnotized by Vecna at Billy's grave.
That's right.
I think that it's possibly one of my favorite episodes of the whole of this season, actually. So yeah, it's got a lot of really good stuff in it.
Yeah. Plus good point, Aaron. The women characters talk to each other about shit other than men.
Passing the Bechdel test.
Passes the Bechdel test.
Yeah.
Although they do talk about that, but like, it's not the majority of their conversation, and it's real. You know, we talk about our relationships with our friends.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. They also talk about how to save the world from being destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really important. I'm really glad they did that. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I'm a child of the 80s myself. These kids are, let's see, if it's 1986 and they're starting high school and I started high school in 1989, they're about, 3 years older than me, right? Okay. And I played D&D back in this time period. So like all of this stuff with the Satanic Panic is my lived experience.
Yeah, I was going to say, was that a real thing?
Oh, God, yes.
Oh, yeah, it was. He's lived it. I've read about it.
I've said it before. The most unrealistic thing about the first season of Stranger Things is not the psychic 11-year-old girl. It's not the monsters from an alternate dimension. It's the fact that those kids are talking about D&D in public and nobody's batting an eye about it.
I don't think this reached the shores of Britain. I'm happy to be proved wrong on that, but I just when I saw that,
a uniquely American thing.
Maybe. So what was it like? Tell us what it was like.
Well, you just, anytime it was mentioned, you're just like, oh, are you a devil worshiper?
What the hell?
Oh, yeah. So you just learn to not talk about it to anybody you didn't know already was into it.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Did you have like secret signs like that meant let's play D&D later?
No, you knew where to go. I mean, you could meet people at like the comic book shop and stuff like that.
That's like going into like the back part of the video store, isn't it? Or the porno shop. Go to the comic book store. Oh,
yeah. Like I say, you got to know where to go to meet the right people.
Yeah. Wow.
I believe the origins of the Satanic Panic, when I read about this, there was a preschool, I think, out on the eastern side of the country, and somehow the teachers became convinced that these kids were starting to get possessed. They extracted confessions from all these kids that they had been, and they found some people to prosecute about it, and it just kind of, something like that's going to capture national headlines and kind of just swept the nation.
Mm-hmm. There was a movie. It was Tom Hanks' first movie ever. Was a movie called Mazes and Monsters, which is about a teenage kid that gets taken over by the devil.
What?
And loses his dang mind because he's playing Mazes and Monsters. But it's, they did it to Marilyn Manson music.
I'm now starting to think very differently about Jumanji, and I'm wondering what the secret deep down message of playing board games was from that one. Whether they were trying to tell us if you play board like.
Part of it was the fact that some of the Dungeons and Dragons supplements had like literal demons from mythology in there, and they're learning to cast spells to summon these demons. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's improv with math. That's what D&D is. But
yeah,
a lot of math, especially early on.
Yeah. A lot of the time, like, okay, that's a +5 because you've got armor on, but -5 because you did it from over here. And blah, blah, blah. Yeah, after you've had too many margaritas, that gets harder to do. But it's like it makes me think of like Harry Potter, and the people who are like, if you read Harry Potter, you're a devil worshipper. because of the spells.
Yeah, imagine that, but like instead of it being a vocal minority who says that, it's a majority of people who say that. That's what the Satanic Panic was like.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you just didn't talk about it.
Jesus.
How did you find groups to play with?
Well, so I started playing with a guy called Patrick, still my friend now, and he knew a couple other people, and this was before the Satanic Panic ramped up, so I was already playing when it started.
Mm.
And
so you knew the signs to look for, another nerdy.
And my parents knew, you know, they watched us play a few times. They knew, like, oh, they're just playing pretend.
Yeah.
It's the most fun.
It's just a place. Yeah.
This isn't meant to turn into a D&D stream. We're going to start losing people if we go too heavy in that direction.
I actually think D&D is actually really important to this show because
it is, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because all the monsters are named part of it. But also, because I was looking up Vecna.
Mm-hmm. I did the same thing before this.
Yeah, and I was looking up how you can destroy Vecna in actual D&D, and I was wondering if they will, because they based their Vecna on D&D Vecna. So I think if they're basing him on that, because he's a lich, isn't he?
Yes.
And so,
like demigod lich.
A god, he's a lich, he's a demigod, he's a god. It depends on what time period you're talking about, too.
Yeah.
Vecna is a D&D original character who has been around since the 70s, I think.
But to me, like the lich thing is they've got basically their soul has to be in like an amulet or something.
Right.
Phylactery.
Phylactery.
Like kind of, yeah, exactly, a phylactery. But although for lay people, you might think of it as the Horcrux. But that thing has to be destroyed in order for you to kill Vecna, or a lich. So I'm wondering if, because he is like impervious to so many things like poisons, disease, like huge physical attacks. So I'm wondering if they will discover. Yes, Wheezy Squeeze Box. That's a margarita glass. I'm wondering if that's what 11 will have to do. Is she'll have to destroy that. I wonder if they'll bring that into it. They may not do. They may choose to do that. But I wonder if that'll be part of the twist with Vecna, is that he can't be destroyed simply by attacking himself.
So what would be this Vecna's phylactery then? What do you think?
The clock? I don't know.
But
the clock would be
the clock makes sense to me too.
Yeah.
Can I just add that the clock's chiming, where it goes, is really good. I'm thinking the sounds on this are really,
the sound editing
creepy has
been fantastic.
Yeah. But it could be the clock or something in the whole. There's the pane of glass in the door that they see a lot. That Max identified.
Robin did throw a brick through that.
I was so sad when they did that because that was a beautiful piece of art. Oh my god! I actually just got a tattoo of a world map and made in a stained glass style.
I've seen pictures. It's
particularly
awesome.
attached to stained glass. I was like any other window in that house. Come on.
Did you shake your fist at Robin? Like,
I did actually. Yes, both fists.
You turned it off. I'm not watching this shit. She's just destroyed the beautiful window. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe the clock. Maybe there's the radio that brought the guy back. But I have big theories about who Vecna really is, because I don't think it's actually the kid.
I think that was pretty heavily.
Yeah, I mean they pretty well.
They showed it at the end of the episode.
But the voice of the dad, Victor, is it Cressel?
Creel. I keep wanting to say Victor Creed, but I think that's Sabretooth.
Yes. His voice is very similar to Vecna's voice. When he was talking in the asylum. Now this could be, I'm admitting that he's my tinfoil hat and it's going on. But his voice, when I was listening to it, and there's a point where his voice changed and went weird and distorted as well. But when I was listening to it, I thought he sounds like Vecna. His voice is. So I'm just wondering if there's.
Vecna is his son.
Yeah, so I wonder if there's a psychic link between him. I just think it hasn't been fully explained. I'm just wondering if there's not been a full. Because can we trust what that person was showing Nancy? Can we fully believe what one, I guess?
Well, it looks like the way that the episode is playing out is looked like it was both Vecna showing Nancy, but also 11 reliving those same memories. So I feel like
he definitely did the massacre in the thing, but is he actually Vecna, or is there? I found it really weird when I was listening to the guy speaking, and I thought, you sound like your voice sounds like Vecna's voice to me.
My trajectory with that was something like, ooh, that's a great bad guy design. I really love the sort of Vecna looks creepy. I almost wish he was missing a hand and an eye, but you take what you want.
Yeah. Well, he's got the really long, creepy claw hand, which you can't really see behind my camera.
But I was like, I wonder if because it looked good enough to me also that I was like, it's almost got to be practical effects, which it is.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's a guy in that suit. Ooh, I wonder if it's like Doug Jones or somebody like that, because he's got that tall, spindly.
Mm-hmm.
But then you see the actor that plays one is kind of just gangly like and spindly and.
Vecna's got abs, by the way. He works out.
Right, he's doing his front game is on point.
He probably has a spell that he can use to make his weird fleshy appendages thingy.
Well, there's probably not a lot to do in the Upside Down. He probably does lots of sit-ups and crunches, I'd say. But I'm not convinced that it's fully explained to us.
Do we want to talk about that last episode that's kind of revealed about Vecna now? Sure. Or do you want to talk about that later? Okay.
Again, like
I have quite a bit of thoughts about kind of
the
implications in that last episode.
Fire away. Again, it's a very free-form conversational style that we got here. Just let it just go where it takes you.
Okay. So I believe in that last episode, we learned that it's been frozen from when the past or the Upside Down is kind of frozen in time from the start of season 1.
Right.
And when Vecna /Unknown is banished to the Upside Down by 11, we see this kind of primordial version of the Upside Down. And it was that one traveling through it, or did he move into it and then form this version of the Upside Down around him, like this recreation of Hawkins? Is this like his demi-plane almost within the Upside Down?
Wow. That's a great theory. Why is he creating gates then? And why is he back now? Because that was one of the questions they had was, why 50 years later is he back? And also, why is he creating those gates?
Well, and he isn't back 50 years later. The initial killings of Victor's family was the younger version of him. Basically just killing his mother, killing his sister, and then almost killing his father, but running out of juice because he was still a young kid. And I thought I loved the foreshadowing throughout this whole season, because I thought it was weird that the son survived the attack, because it was mentioned that he went into a coma and then died a few months later in a previous episode. And then it's revealed that he was in fact the son, and I thought that was an excellent foreshadowing and twist.
Yeah.
And so he then grew up in the labs in Hawkins for however long enough to become an assistant there, a controlled assistant.
I think he's 20-something there. I think he's an assistant there because he's failed to.
He's uncontrollable, like 11.
Yeah, so they put the thing in his neck, and he became an orderly.
Yeah. So then he is that. So then he escaped. Well, he is banished by 11. Still somewhat undetermined amount of time before the events of season 1. So I don't know how much time passed between 11. Between the massacre there and 11 escaping in the start of season 1, and she opens another portal.
That was 1979. Right? That was 1979 when they had the massacre.
Okay.
And then she opens up the portal, I think, in 1983. I think, yeah.
So it is several years later.
Yeah, so it's been about 4 years. So, so
the massacre of who was in 1979?
The massacre at Hawkins' lab. So all those children.
The death of of 1 through 17, -8, and
1 and 11.
Yeah. Well, how are they making all those children?
I think they're finding them, right? Because that's discussed in season 2, where we meet 8. We meet 11's mom.
Yeah, they were finding them. It just like did they? So are they just kids with amazing powers just walking around, or because also they all call the doctor Brenner Papa. So is that simply to kind of twist their minds into thinking?
Absolutely.
I just wanted to do genetic modification, because obviously they're experimenting on like 11's mum, weren't they, when she was pregnant? Because that's how they think 11 got her powers.
I may be getting the boys and Stranger Things mixed up, but that sounds right.
I'm pretty sure because she was pregnant when she went into the MK Ultra M thingy study. It wasn't she, the mother. What's her name?
Ooh. Don't make me lie to you.
I don't know. She's too minor.
But she was pregnant. She didn't know she was pregnant. She went into this study and then realized she was pregnant with 11. And they kept her baby because the baby there was therefore special. So I'm just wondering how all these amazing children have been created, essentially.
Maybe like X-Men, and they're just mutations with a chain. They all seem to have similar power sets. I was hoping to see maybe something a little more unique, like 8.
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
I'm hoping to see her back too, because I loved her character.
Yeah, she was great.
Despite how they could have handled that better within the structure of the season, rather than its own like side backdoor pilot episode. But I do hope she comes back at some point.
Yeah, I liked her a lot. She was great. And I'd forgotten that she had a totally different skill set. Mm-hmm. If they were like the X-Men, then they'd all have different powers, wouldn't they? To do different things.
Yeah. But it seems like similar, like making lights bright, telekinetics.
Yeah.
I think 11 is different with her power to open portals into the Upside Down.
True. And obviously 1's ability is to snap people into shape.
I think that's just a refinement of his telekinetic power. Like he found the ways to inflict the most amount of pain and horror on a human body, or on any body, because we see him doing it to a rabbit too at one point.
Yeah,
and can I just say, when poor Chrissy, when that happened to her, at the end of episode 1, I had like legit body horror shivers going on.
It's definitely the strongest horror on the screen that we've seen so far.
It's definitely. I think someone said it in the chat. Like that is really, they've upped the dark. This season, definitely, and that really, because I think the first episode people were complaining because it was really slow, and I didn't mind that because there was a lot to catch you up on.
Yeah, a lot of setup for the episode. Yeah, that dramatic finale of that episode, which was just a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you're kind of lulled into this, and you're thinking, I know something's going to happen.
Oh yeah,
what's going to be? What's going to happen? And
as soon as
as
soon as the head cheerleader and the
her name is
Chrissy and Jason.
Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, as soon as he said "I love you, babe" to her, I'm like, oh. Something bad's gonna happen right here. I just know it.
Also, I just got really awful vibes off of him. He gave me like full on. Oh, he's like a guy who like hunts, and I don't know. It's like a jock. Maybe he has a MAGA hat. I don't know.
I see him as he's like a paladin. Is how I see him with kind of through the D&D lens on this. Like he's got the charisma. He's leading the charge. He can fight really well. He's seeing some horrific things, and he can't explain them other than what's happening with the Satanic Panic discussion that's happening. So that's just the rabbit hole he goes down. Hopefully, there's a redemption for him later on in Volume 2. That's what I'm hoping for, because I can't really fault him for acting the way he's acting. He is a kid after all.
I got creep vibes from him. I got full on. He's the kind of guy who will fail up in his life.
He is sort of a handsome, cis-het white dude. So
yeah.
I would like to address Josh's question here.
Absolutely.
Which is really good, which was when 11 creating that portal, the first time a portal had ever been made between the Upside Down and our world. And while I am not one to say emphatically yes, necessarily, there's plenty of things we haven't seen. It's the only thing, I don't know of anything else that the story has shown us where there was a portal before that.
I think this is the earliest portal we've seen in 79. And I guess thinking back to my previous theory that Vecna being banished created the Upside Down Hawkins, I think is wrong then if it's frozen in time from the portal that 11 opened at the start of season 1.
Well, actually, he's making portals, isn't he? And there are even in the first season there was more than one portal, because there was one in that tree in the forest where Nancy.
Yeah.
Is it Jonathan? No, not Jonathan. Was it Jonathan or Steve? What they went into it through the tree. So maybe Vecna has been he's been killing and making portals for a long time, longer than we realize, because there was definitely more than one portal, and 11 didn't open all of them.
Yeah, and Aaron mentioned earlier that that the Mind Flayer is still being kind of considered the main like bad guy, the Cthulhu level Eldritch horror threat. And because that's what Dustin says, that Vecna is maybe his 5-star general, because he's definitely the most intelligent, or at least communicative being we've seen. And I've found this to be a very nice, good twist on the villains for these stories. Definitely enjoying him as a villain. And maybe he is opening these portals for the Mind Flayer. I mean, until we kind of see how the season plays out, it's a very good operating theory, unless they throw a twist at us. But we still have another season to go. So
we do. One more.
Yeah, I imagine from a sort of meta standpoint, get these kids for one more season, because let's be honest, they're all going to go on to be stars in their own right.
Oh yeah. Well, Millie Bobby Brown already is in couple.
She's a legit movie star already.
And so Will, the one whose name I can't.
Ben Wolfhard.
That's it. I knew it was Wolf Flinhard or something. Something like that.
We got there together. High five.
Yeah, thank you. He's a bit of a star from like It and stuff.
And the new Ghostbusters, which I heard was actually pretty good.
I haven't seen that yet, but I will.
I haven't either, but I heard it was good.
Yeah. Also, I think the kids are just going to get too big. I think.
Yeah.
People have been talking about the new guy. What's his name? I've forgotten his name now.
Argyle, Eddie.
No, the guy, the run Eddie. That's it. Like he is 30 in real. He's like 29 in real life, and I know they joked in the show that he's like done his senior year a few times, but we're talking like 9 times if he's to be.
Isn't that a little creepy that you're keeping a 20-year-old man like physically in high school? I mean, isn't this what the GED was invented for?
Don't ask me. I'm not.
This is definitely a rabbit hole. I don't know if we need to go down, but I was a little like weirded out by that reveal that he's like 20 years old.
He looks so old as well, and you're like this guy. And I feel like it's the first time that they failed to cast someone the right age, because all of the kids are genuinely kids, which has been really good. Because I remember I watched Buffy. when it first came out, and then when I read a magazine and it was like Willow's 27, I was like, what? And I didn't realize that basically these actors are not teenagers, and I think that happened. And Dawson's Creek, I remember watching that. Sorry, everyone.
I think the main like 6, the younger ones, they are definitely younger. And I think I looked at Max, and she is actress, and she's 20 now.
Sadie Sink is 20. Millie Bobby Brown is 18.
18, okay.
I think most of them are like right in that age.
Yeah.
But
they started out like
they started out young. Oh, and Will grew up. Like he got tall, his voice dropped.
Yeah.
Definitely over only this is over a span of like 3 years.
You say that so the story goes like this. I was in choir in the 6th grade, and I had a solo at the end of the year concert that would something like, gee, I wish my voice would hurry up and change so I could sit and sing with the other guys. and I came back to choir in the 7th grade, and I was a bass. So it can happen pretty much all at once.
That's amazing. But Will, how old is the actor who plays Will? Because he looks amazing now. He's gone from this tiny little skimpy child to being. He looks kind of like what happened to you. Although he's still got the same bald head.
Noah Schnapp.
But it all works with him.
It's a great last name.
He is 17. He will be 18 in October.
Okay. Yeah, 2004 October.
Okay. Because he definitely suddenly grew. His face has changed.
This makes me.
That's
so funny.
Agree.
Sherlock, it's so funny. He has the worst haircut.
The worst. It's the same. It's like I have to confess, as a child of the 80s, growing up in London, basically we didn't have money to go to hairdressers, so my mum used to get my mum got the neighbour to come over, stick a bowl on our heads, and the neighbour would genuinely cut around the bowl. And that's my brother, my sister, and I. You can see pictures of us, like family photos, and we all have the exact same. We have Will's haircut, all 3 of us. Me a ginger, my sister a blonde, my brother with brown hair. All 3 of us with the full-on, Will, basically the Will. There was the Rachel in the 90s. This is the Will.
Retroactively, we're going to call it the Will.
The Will, yeah.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. Where there's a will, there's a terrible bowl haircut. Yeah.
I had like most of one when I was in high school. I had a part which was just enough to separate me from the rest of the bowl cuts.
Nice. Did you have 90s curtains? Was that what you had?
I was born in 88, so I guess they would have been right in that time period.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Well. We all had bad hair. I think that's one of the things that we all love about the show, though. I mean, for me, it takes me back to like all the things that they wear and the things that they do. That just takes me right back to being a kid.
The socks pulled up to the knees and
the
terrible
shorts. The short shorts.
Here's the thing: where are the parachute pants?
I don't know. Had MC Hammer happened at that point? I feel like he was later.
Really? Later than 88? I never had a pair of parachute pants, but I would have stabbed someone to have a pair.
Okay. Someone get Steven some parachute pants before he stabs some people.
Thankfully, I'm too young for that style fiasco.
I had parachute pants, but I had them when they came back in the noughties.
Okay.
They came back in the mid to late noughties, but I had them then as well. Because they're great. They're so comfortable. You have full breeze around your butt. It's great.
I don't think those are parachute pants, Jess.
He's a friend.
Oh, look again.
Argyle.
I don't think so. Yeah, Argyle. I don't think so.
I don't think they are. He wears like lovely leggings, I'm sure.
Yeah. He wears like joggers or something.
Yeah.
Which are not the parachute pants were kind of the zippers all over them and stuff. And I was just.
Yeah. They're great. I think we should bring them back again. But I swear, I think they were later. I think they were in like 88, 89, something like that. It was MC Hammer time.
Hammer was like 1990. And Parachute Pants were around before that.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, maybe we'll see them. Maybe they'll come up. I haven't seen a rah-rah skirt, which is what I had in the 80s as well. And leg warmers. I used to walk around in
the what are they called? The jellies, slippers.
Yeah.
I haven't seen those.
Yeah.
We'll see. Hopefully we'll get some of that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Julie Beth, I know you say you're exactly the same age. Yep. Julie is my big sister from different parents. But it's funny when we stand side by side, people believe that we're siblings. I look more like her than I do my actual siblings. But yeah, my big sister. And yes, you had Parachute Pants, which means those kids should have them. Right, exactly.
Okay. Well, then there we go. They should have them then.
Live
Maybe someone can write to the Duffer Brothers and say they wear the Parachute Pants. We should bring it back.
Totally. You know what we should bring back? Letting people wear whatever the hell they want.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Especially
she's old enough where you don't care anymore and start wearing whatever you want.
Let's go ahead and you know what? Let's talk about this a little bit. Scott, I think you and your sister are both spot on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Will's sexuality was a thing that was discussed maybe even in episode 1 of season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit because he was kind of interested in Mike, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when he went missing and Joyce went to Hopper for the first time, you know, people say, you know, I'm not going to say what she says, but, you know, an unkind, you know, call him a certain word.
Okay.
And Hopper's like, is he? And Joyce's response is, does that matter? You know, her child is missing at this point. So the question of Will's sexuality has been there really since the beginning. We see the attempt at footsie with the girl that sits next to him in the one class where he quickly withdraws his foot.
Yeah.
Clearly has a crush on Mike.
Yeah, I think so. Because Mike is always the one who's saying, "Oh, we've got girlfriends now," blah, blah, blah. And he always feels like he's about to say something to Mike.
Yeah.
There's a lot of scenes where he's like, but I think people keep bringing it up and going, "Oh, when are we going to hear about it?" And I think, I don't know. I feel like they're talking about it from, like, with hindsight, that we look back and we think about coming out as being so easy. But actually, in the 80s, in Indiana, in a small... Hawkins isn't exactly a small town, but it's not exactly a big town either. He's probably the only gay in the village. Like, they're just...
He's got Robin.
Yeah, but even she's not...
And he has been in the L.A. area for a year.
Yeah.
That's true, but even then, I feel like in the 80s...
still uphill battle.
What, he's meant to be maybe, 14, 15 in this season?
They're what, freshmen in high school?
Yeah, they're freshmen in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the... I think, K2 says it. Like, he's young, it's difficult. That was a totally different time period. So I think people kind of wondering why and when is he not going to come out. Like, I'm 37 and I've only just come out as queer. Like, it's not easy. And even now, like, I haven't told everybody in my life because it's still not 100. People still don't necessarily understand what that means.
Right.
I have it's Pride Month and I've got a Pride flag hanging at my house and I'm still, like, nervous of, are people gonna throw eggs at my house? But I don't care because I got a pride flag out. Like, sod them. They can just, like, deal with it.
Exactly.
Mike says you don't like girls. But I think it's really difficult. I think it's portraying how difficult it would have been at age 14, 15, whatever he is, to come out to his friends at that time. I mean, Joyce, I love Joyce, but she is, like, the most ridiculous mom. Like, she doesn't notice anything. Like, I love her, but is it coincidence that she's also named the same name as Buffy's mom? Like, she's got, like, all the parents have Sunnydale-itis. None of the adults know that anything is going on, that there's no monsters. Like, this is the first time the adults in it have ever been involved, because this season the adults actually have been involved and going, where are my kids? Like, that is something that I always look at it and go, why has no one noticed that their kids have been away for like days, because they've actually been in a Russian bunker underneath Hawkins. Like, and it's the first time they're like, oh yeah, my kid has disappeared for a while. Like,
you shouldn't be at the movie theater for 4 hours, right? And the movie doesn't last that long.
Yeah, they've been away for 3 days, and I didn't really think to ask where they were. And I don't know, they're just really oblivious parents, all of them. And I wonder,
I think some of that is to serve the story of the children.
Yeah,
of course it is, but it is the same thing. Like, I think they call it Sunnydale-itis or Sunnydale something, because that's the same thing. Like, all these parents not noticing that their kids were being like offed by vampires and demons, and it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, the parents just sort of have this complete, like, I haven't noticed that my kids have disappeared, or they're totally oblivious. Like Barb's poor parents, like Barb.
Yeah.
Pay respect to Barb, who disappeared in season 1.
Justice for Barb.
Justice for Barb. And she was amazing, but her parents just didn't know anything. Didn't know nothing. And it wasn't until season 2 that she actually had a funeral. Poor Barb. Because she was taken by a disgusting, I don't know, like the Demi.
It was the Demogorgon.
Yeah.
Barb was taken by Demogorgon. Although, like, I find myself wondering if that actually is true, or if she was taken by Vecna.
Ooh.
Yeah, like I guess
because we never actually see it.
No,
and
we
Vecna brings it up. Granted, it is in relation directly to Nancy and Nancy's feelings of guilt about that situation, but it makes me wonder.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point.
I mean, we do get to see Barb again this season.
We do.
Oh, we do, didn't we?
Right there at the end of the final episode, as Vecna enters Nancy's mind to start trying to kill her. I thought that was such a well done transition too, of her like climbing up and then falling through blackness until she lands in the pool. Yeah,
that was definitely a kind of, I was sitting there going, what the fuck? Kind of just really going, because I was just thinking, I know something awful is going to happen, because you kind of, that they're not all going to get out. You're watching it going, come on, guys, I can't believe we're wasting time. Okay, I know it's physically exciting because there's a sheet going through it and it's standing out by itself, but can you just get out of the upside down, please?
I'm faster.
Oh yeah, go faster, and then you can look at it. Okay, and but it wasn't what I was expecting, and I loved that. I loved that feeling of. I just thought basically Vecna's going to catch up on them and maybe take one of them or something, but actually, that kind of reveal, that twist in the last episode, made me very happy because I was like, oh, I was not expecting this. Nancy is dropping through like a kind of Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah. And her physical form is trapped in the upside down still because she's kind of paralyzed there.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to critique.
Could they do it? Could Steve bring her through, or?
Yeah, even when Max was paralyzed there at the gravesite, I'm like, pick her up and move her physically. Maybe that'll help do something.
Yeah, don't know. You never know.
Yeah, we haven't seen them try to move someone who's paralyzed yet.
I am going to critique a little bit the end of that last episode, because it was a lot of heavy-handed exposition.
It was.
Yeah. It was the true villain's reveal. His backstory was as far as monologues go. I kind of liked it.
It wasn't bad, but I'm going to be, because it was and they did show us while telling us. You have one's explanation to 11 serving as the voiceover for what Nancy is seeing, but I don't know. It was a long.
It was.
I mean, there was a lot of. It was tying up foreshadowing from probably the second episode or so of just who won. Well, it had to tie up several loose ends. First off, who is one, and then his backstory with Victor Sells and those initial killings, and then how 1 became who he is, and then how that impacted 11.
Yeah.
There was a lot of ground to cover, and how he became Vecna.
Yeah, it definitely smacked a lot of the cartoon villains, and they go, and then because they've caught someone, they've got them in like the classic 3 ropes in a chair around their arms on the chair that they can't escape from, so they decide to tell them their evil plan that they had all along. Which at that moment they're like, aha, you told me your plan and now I'm going to foil it. It was definitely a lot of exposition, and very much, I mean, there was showing, I think in the writing world we call it show don't tell. And so if you're writing books and stuff, you don't want to just tell people stuff. It sort of is
that being my main critique. My counterpunch to my own point is that they did actually show us quite a bit.
Well, exactly. Yeah. They did. They showed it quite a lot. But it just felt like, I did feel like I was watching it going, okay, we're seeing a lot of this. And I wonder if they could have broken that down differently. Or if they just went, no, let's just do like a 15-minute, or I don't know how long, it probably wasn't 15 minutes, but like, it was a long amount of time.
Good chunk of it too, yeah.
Yeah, it was a long time to kind of keep you going and go, and this is what we did, and this is what I did next, and then blah 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 blah. Yeah. And then the sudden spot, because there was a lot of spider imagery.
Yeah, we got the background for that too.
And it felt like, and then I was like, the spiders, because the spiders are a perfect form of something, and
that was a bit much. I will agree with that.
It was like they crammed a whole bunch in there, and you say 15 minutes, and I'm like, 20 minutes, maybe.
Was it 20 minutes?
It was an hour and 40-minute long episode, and I feel like that last exposition dump and the reveal of who Vecna is was a big part of that.
Yeah, I didn't like this. I didn't understand the spider bit. I'm wondering if that's going to come back, because it was just a bit like an added extra
character. I think character backstory, like his connection to these predators.
Yeah, think of him as a predator.
It was maybe that's why if he is an agent of the Mind Flayer, why he likes the Mind Flayer, because the Mind Flayer also has multi limbs and stuff.
What was it he liked about spiders? It was something like, because humans are annoying and liars, and spiders are simple and
great predators and kill when they want. Yeah, I agree. Like that whole bit was
and I like the spiders. It's a bit like a kind of Spider-Man or like a Batman origin story. My parents were shot, and then a bunch of bats fluttered in my face, and I decided to become the Batman.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like they needed to add that like it was enough without saying, and then I saw the spiders, and the spiders were so exciting.
Now let me go off about how awesome spiders are for a minute.
Yeah, it was that
was. I mean, the fact that he's basically an insane, superpowered person was probably enough. Like, I don't think we needed the spider bit. The clock, the clock was fun. Like that was pretty cool. And that kind of theme has been throughout, and the sound for that has been.
Well, I mean, I guess Vecna has that weird web, which sort of explains this, because he kind of doesn't he like when he's in the attic.
He's got those tendrils that are connecting into him. Yeah.
But even then, I didn't need to know about. I feel like it's tenuous. I didn't need to think, oh, that's the spider connection. He's kind of like living in the web. I don't really care about that unless it's something that's actually gonna move the plot forward.
Right. Like he's got these bat creatures that are really really kind of cool, but no actual like spiders other than popping up in the visions as like really creepy. Like I hate spiders. Like I have arachnophobia, so I was not a fan. But there wasn't like a monster spider. Okay, Steven's agreeing with me here. Yeah. Go.
Yeah, I just also hate spiders. There was a time or two where I kind of did this.
Yeah. Spiders are awful.
I try to stay in it, but there was a time or two where I'm like, nope, let me just like relax for a second and not stare at spiders.
Spiders are fucked up. I hate them. They can
Scott, yes, we did talk about this subject like way back at the very beginning of the stream. So and I know you weren't here for the very beginning of it, so So, but it's there for you to go back and watch after we're done. You can go back and watch just the very beginning, and it gets touched on pretty quickly. We've also been going for about an hour, which means we're at the halfway point, which means it is time for me to do my mid-roll. That means this is the part of the video where I remember that this is YouTube. And I say things like, comment, subscribe, share, all of those things. Hit that thumbs up thing. It costs you nothing. And it does, increase our visibility here. We're always trying to grow the channel to bring other awesome people in into the club. Speaking of into the club, I'm going to advertise our Slack group. I am very active in there, as is that guy right there, in there all the time. We also have several people who you will know from the chat, who are regulars in our Slack group. Jess is there frequently. Aaron is in there a lot. Julie Beth shows up sometimes. Potter's in there all the time. And those are just the people I recognize from today's chat. Danny McKay is in there a lot. But it's just a great community. It's like a Discord server, but it's just a different service. But if you want to join our Slack group, send me an email to this email address down below, we3dragons@gmail.com, and I will send you an invitation. And you can watch us post memes on the meme channel, or pictures of hot celebrities in our Thirst channel, or book stuff and books channels. And anyway, we have a good time. We keep the party going around the whole week. We also set up our ongoing Zoom calls through there, so come hang out with us on Zoom too. Okay, we need to make sure that I mention our patrons, because they're awesome people. They are the ones that pay for this StreamYard, that pay for our Zoom. They make it so that I don't have to pay for it out of my pocket, and I love you guys for it. Our Patreon council consists of Ridiculous Ed Tollett, our alpha patron, who is probably listening maybe right now, but can't really interact much because I know you're at work, buddy. But love you. And as well as Lord John Bronsteen the Wise. Thank you, High Council. We love you guys. And they are supported by the nobility of the realm, including Ryan Stavka, the Russian Quartermaster, Reflective Rambling, Arch-Maester Emma, Kate, Mistress of the House of Books, and Jared Kozal, Doctor of Dragons. Thank you, patrons. We love you guys. If you would like to become a patron, the link is down in the description near the bottom of our list. Stef, William, I have both of your Twitter handles linked in the description down there.
Cool.
I don't know that either one of you have like a podcast or anything you want me to hawk, or a friend whose stuff you love. But anything you want to share with our watchers?
William, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I know I've only recently got involved with this group as of January when I showed up to Here Be Con, and before that I wasn't on the Slack group very much. But since then, I've made some pretty cool friends, doing some horror movie watch parties, and like a lot of you, quite a bit.
Yeah, like I've known William. We were in a D&D group together for about 3 years now, maybe 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's really only been in the last 6 months when you came to our get together here in Texas, and I'm like, this is who you are. Can I adopt you as my little brother?
Exactly.
And now you're just part of the group.
I'm here. I went to Ice and Fire Con, got to see several of you, and even more. I'm heading down to Williamsburg here at the end of the month to spend more time with more of you. Yeah, sure, Kelly.
Yeah. I think she's whatevsing me because I didn't mention her by name earlier as somebody who contributes to our Slack group a lot. But you do.
Kelly is pretty awesome. Yeah.
Kelly is pretty awesome.
I think we're going to go see a lot of museums together when we get down to Williamsburg.
Yeah. What about you, Stef? Tell me about something I don't know about, or like something you did with a friend that's awesome.
Oh, I don't know. That's on the spot. That's a lot. I don't know. I don't really do anything awesome. I just sort of hang around on Twitter most of the time, procrastinating. Because I'm a writer, and I write about food. So I eat a lot of food and make a lot of food. So that's my main life. But I also write novels too. But I mainly do stuff that is A Song of Ice and Fire related. That's my big thing. But I don't know. What do I do with people that's awesome? I don't know. I mean, I live near lots of mountains because I live near Edinburgh. And lots of people don't realize that Edinburgh is like surrounded on one side by hills and mountains, and then the other side is the ocean. And you can literally walk from the mountains to the ocean in a day. And it's amazing. And I just did that recently. It's like an 18-mile walk. And just not yet. I'm on the way to being published. I have an editor and people interested in my books, which is really good. The latest one I've just finished is a historical crime fiction based on something real that happened. Kind of real. I moved. I'm from London originally. You probably tell I live in Scotland, but I don't have a Scottish accent. You may have noticed. I don't know. Do you guys know what a Scottish accent's like?
Yes.
You've seen Braveheart when they all talk like
no,
that.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I have a friend called Craig.
Craig
who I play D&D with sometimes. He's Scottish and very Scottish accent.
Okay. Yes. Well, I have Scottish family, but I'm not from I'm not actually got a Scottish accent, but because I was raised in London, but unintelligible. Yeah. So I moved out to the countryside right before pandemic lockdowns, and I moved into a house that used to be a police house. So like an old village house where the police used to be, and there used to be jail cells in the house that I lived in. So I think I was on Davos Fingers. I don't know, you know Davos Fingers from...
Oh, yes, I do know Davos Fingers.
You know Davos Fingers. So I was on Davos Fingers at the beginning of April and was it March? I think it was March, actually. All the months have become one. We were talking about it, and Scad from Davos Fingers was like, so you basically moved into a haunted house. I was like, yeah, essentially. I moved into a house that once had people in prison in it, like rattling chains and stuff like that. And it was kind of cool. And I started wondering what it would be like if one were to solve a mystery, if you were to discover that something had happened in that house. And so I decided to write a book about living in an old police house, which is what happened. I've got an editor and publishers interested. So hopefully it might be out in the next... Well, publishing is slow. So it could be a year, sure. It might be two. It takes forever, basically. It's extremely
slow. Yeah, I know. George R. R. Martin actually finished Winds of Winter 4 years ago.
I know.
It's all their fault. It's all publishers' fault.
Just been trying to get it published.
It's looking 11 years now for George. It's not going to be that bad for me. So hopefully it won't be 11 years. But maybe in the next year or two, I'll have a book that will be available to buy on bookshelves very soon. But it was cool living in an old police house because obviously I have a very overactive imagination, and wondering what it would be like if I went back in time to when it actually was with
overactive imagination. Enjoy storytelling.
Who's that? That's why I enjoy D&D so much, because it's basically like, lost in a moment. It's why it's so funny to me to think of what did you call the thing? The D&D
Satanic Panic.
Satanic Panic. Jesus.
Yes.
Because I'm the only one in my family who plays D&D. And I'm like, why do you like it? And I'm like, have you ever read a book or watched a film or a TV show and you've honestly wanted to be one of the characters and do some shit in the thing? And like, you know, you're like, love that character. You're like, God, I wish I was that person. And what I would do is this. And it's like, it's basically the best way of selling D&D now. Everyone should do it. And if anyone has a group that they want me to play in, I will play it because it is so fun.
You've come to the right place.
It's just like, if you've ever wanted to like suddenly have sword powers or magic powers and do a thing, like this is the thing for you, because it is like it's the best way to spend several hours of a Sunday afternoon. You know, and that feeling when you roll a natural 20. Whew.
Yeah. Especially like in that clutch moment.
When it matters, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to roll mine on initiative.
Yeah.
Oh, ouch.
Yes. Yeah, and that moment when you roll a natural 1 and you're like, oh shit, I've rolled a natural 1.
Yeah. So, for those of you that do care about D&D, it is a huge part of the subculture of our friend group. Like, not everybody I know plays D&D, but the people that don't are a minority. Steph, I'm Dungeon Master in 4 different games and a player in 2.
That's crazy. Crazy amount.
Maybe, yes, maybe. My problem is that, like, my games fill up. There is some like shuffling of people going on right now. I might have a spot for you.
Thank you. Well, I'll take anything. I haven't been able to play. The last time my group played was in November last year, and I just realized how long ago that was. I work from home by myself a lot, so I suddenly realized that months have gone past, and I didn't notice like the change of seasons and all of that. You know, I
work outdoors, so I noticed.
Okay. Well, I work in my office going woo, like that, and then suddenly it's summer, and you go, oh yeah, the sun's out. Meanwhile, I have like rickets and all sorts of scurvy and rickets from not getting out enough and not eating my vegetables. So I'm up for playing any which way I can because it's just the best. Just
so, yeah. Okay, Steph, we'll talk. We'll talk after the stream. But okay, so that was a long mid-roll. That's fine. Staying on the rails is not what we do here. I will like bring us back to the course we were on before, where we were talking about Stranger Things.
Yes.
We've talked a lot about the villain. We've talked a little bit about what Eleven's going through, what Will is experiencing. I really enjoyed the moment where Will is kind of reading Mike the Riot Act about like you can make a book out of the letters that you sent to Elle, and you called me what 2 or 3 times?
Yeah.
Yep.
But
like
Mike's
third wheel.
Mike's counterpunch is like, why is it on me? You can reach out to me too.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that comes up quite a lot because Max writes the letters, and she writes one to Lucas, and he says, "Don't write me letters. I'm here. Talk to me now." And so there's 2 like mirroring conversations of kind of you can reach out or reach out more, reach out better. You know, that there's sort of Mike and Will and Max and Lucas that are these sort of 2 sets of characters that are talking about the power of talking to one another and friendship, and that it doesn't have to be one-sided or anything like that. So I don't know if that's meant to mirror, but it kind of I think it comes up in the same episode. Actually, I think that's why I'm thinking of it.
It might do the Dear Billy episode.
Yeah, that one. That's a good episode.
This whole season has been okay. I've heard some people be kind of critical of episode 1 feeling slow, And again, I had my own critiques of the end of the last episode with its sort of like big, kind of overblown villain monologue.
Megalomaniacal, yeah.
But
I like the first episode, just getting to see how it's growing up and just this undercurrent of like something weird's going on, which is like a good early part to most cosmic horror is like it's normal on the surface, but you dig down a little bit and suddenly things go off the rails.
Yeah,
and we also get to see the main villain Vecna like right there in the first episode. Like we didn't get a good shot of the Demogorgon until I think well into season 1.
No, I think my only criticism, my main criticism of this season, yes, maybe the kind of last bit of exposition, but although that was actually kind of fun, and you're kind of going, "Ooh, okay, I'm understanding it." I've seen it a few times from other people, is that I'm not 100% loving the USSR element. I know they've kind of got a triptych. They've got what's going on in California, what's happening in Hawkins and the USSR. I can't see a narrative purpose for that. I
was having the exact same struggle.
Yeah, I know that they've got the Demogorgons there, or Demogorgon 1. There's one of them, but I think that's the only reason why we are having to be there, because obviously I think that's going to come back to play, and it's that's the only reason I can think that we've seen so much of that. But I feel like they could have shortened it, or done a lot of it in quick exposition. Like I just don't see why we've had quite so much. Like
it almost feels like we've got Joyce, we've got Murray, we want to bring Hopper back. We don't know what to do with them, so they created this story to service them. And like, hey, we got Jack and Hagar.
Oh God, I love Jack and Hagar. So. I was looking at him, the guy going, why do I know him? Why do I know him? And it was like when I looked at him, I was like, Jack and Hagar, he's no one. That's amazing. Yes, and also he's a German actor, so his Russian accent is very interesting.
Right.
It doesn't sound Russian at all. But I keep expecting him to say to Hopper or something like, "And who are you? You are no one." But no.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I love him. I love the actor, and I want to see more of him. I'm glad he's still with us because he's great.
I was disappointed with that start of this first episode. Well, I guess it was first start, but when they reveal like how Hopper survived, it's just like he fell down.
He ran away and he fell down.
He fell down far enough down off the grate that he wasn't evaporated like the other.
Yeah, and they did that quite quickly, and yet we've had a really long thing of Joyce getting to Alaska, flying to Russia with Eyrie, blah 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 blah, peanut butter.
It's been a lot. It's been a lot of time spent on that.
And
these have been longer episodes. Like these are not 45-minute episodes, and I think the reason is because they just have so many characters now that they've introduced over the course of the series that they now need them to be doing something.
I know. Actually, I don't mind. I know lots of people are complaining about the length.
Not me.
Oh, I will never say about more. Yeah, give me more.
I never want the episodes to end. I'm going, yay, keep it going. So I'm happy with the length of the episodes. Bigger is better, everyone. But I feel like they did the exposition of how did Hopper survive very quickly.
Very, very, very like hand wavy.
Yeah, it was like he survived. Blip. And
I guess we already knew that after the end of the last season.
Yeah,
it wasn't like a big surprise, but it was still okay. I guess I'm still not completely sold on this whole Russian storyline from last season, even
because also we knew the Demogorgon was alive at the end of last season.
Yeah, because we saw him.
It's a big reveal that there's a Demogorgon in this Russian gulag. It's not a big reveal, and the best bit was basically when they fought the Demogorgon and Murray and Joyce took over the prison camp, the gulag. But I feel like could they have done that? I feel like can you just have brought that a few episodes earlier and done something else? Because it seemed very slow.
It does.
And
I think there has to be some kind of payoff
So there will be.
In volume 2. I say that now. I just watched the horror movie The Lamb out of Iceland, and that had no payoff after.
Okay.
I'm hopeful about this one.
Pump the brakes a little bit, because the Duffer Brothers have not steered us wrong yet.
No, they haven't.
True.
So, like...
but genuinely, it was the only thing that I really thought, I'm not that invested in this story.
I agree with you.
Probably the most time that I would pick up my phone and start looking at Twitter whilst watching, start reading my tweets, rather than watching the show, was when we were in the kind of the Joyce Murray. Although I love the character of Murray, I love him. He's a really interesting, complex character. He's so kind of anti Russian, but he speaks Russian, and conspiracy theorist. I don't know. I have a soft spot for him personally.
I like his scenes. Like
he's so funny.
He's very quirky, kooky, but you know what? He's got a black belt now, and they give him allow him to use it, which I appreciated.
My feet are like spears.
Yeah, I was like, okay, like that's over the top, but then he's actually good at it, which that to me, like, I'll let go of whatever like weird stuff he had at the beginning, but if he's good at it, sure, they can make fun of it while also allowing it to be awesome, which is kind of like where my sweet spot for these type of things.
And he's the one who brought Nancy and Jonathan together.
Yeah, you're right.
I was going to say Jancy or Jonathan.
I'd forgotten about much of season 2.
Sorry.
I saw that once a while. How many years ago was that now?
It was quite a while. It was season 2. Yep. Because they went to him about Barb.
Sorry, Steve and Nancy's in game.
Yeah.
I don't want Steve and Nancy to get together. I want it to stay Nancy and Jonathan forever, because Steve's a bit of a douche. Steve is.
Oh, he's
not
anymore.
The guy who was a douche and learned.
He was a douche, but I still want it to be. Although Jonathan is now a douche. Jonathan is now a bit of like kind of, what are you doing with your life? Yeah. You had so much promise. You were going to be a photographer. Blah blah blah. I've been very confused about Nancy's age this season, because I thought she'd finished high school the previous season, because she had that job at the local thingy, the local newspaper. And so I was expecting her. I was like, why is she at high school still? She's back at high school.
She must be like junior, senior year now. I think all the older kids are like in that. Like
she's a senior now, and I didn't realize that she wasn't a senior in the first season. So I was very, very confused. Gotcha. But yes, I would like it to be Nancy and Robin. I think that should be Nobbin.
Okay, like
Nancy Nobbin. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think. Yes, sorry. I don't think Steve is a douche. He used to be a douche. He's a lovely guy, and I'm really glad his character has grown so much. I just don't see. I feel like he's the one that she'll go back to and regret. Like she's like you know, like the classic story of like first love, first crush. She'll go back to him, kiss him, and then think, shit, I shouldn't have done that. And I think maybe she shouldn't be with Steve or Jonathan. Actually, she should be with
Robin, like Aaron said.
Robin. She'll realize that she's actually bisexual and that love, just free love to everyone.
But I also love what Aaron says here. Argyle yelling at Jonathan about giving Nancy the slow fade was awesome. That's part of why I love Argyle. I mean, let's face it, in a lot of ways, he's just a comic relief character. But he is very in tune with what I think is, like, he's got a good sense of morality, a good sense of how to treat people well.
Yeah. Well, he's like one of those sort of classic stoner characters that actually he's not a classic stoner character. He's actually quite insightful and funny, and I'm hoping that we'll see a bit more of that as well. I'd love to bring up the episode where we meet Susie Poo a bit more.
Yeah, I'm happy to see her too. She's out in person with part of the group. I know someone mentioned it. I was trying to find whoever mentioned it earlier in the chat. Yeah, I'm happy that she's now like physically with the crew.
Yeah, like they've all met her in person.
Except poor Dustin. I guess he met her in person back in.
He has met her in person, but he wasn't there.
Yeah. Just looking, trying to find out who it was. Polyamorous family. That was great.
They're gonna form a polycule.
I found it weird. I wonder because we've got a couple in the Song of Ice and Fire Twitteros kind of world. There's a couple of people who live in Salt Lake City, so I specifically want to know from them whether Susie's family situation is from Matt and Scad of Davos Fingers. Please tell me, is that the classic Utah, Salt Lake City life? Like that was just completely like.
Well, we didn't hear much of a mother.
No, we didn't see the mother at all. We saw the dad, and we saw tons of kids, and the eldest kid was getting stoned with Argyle in the back of the van at the end.
Yep.
And Susie's amazing. She's so clever. I love her.
Yeah.
I want more of her. I kind of want a spin-off Susie show.
So many
just all the kids in that family.
Yeah.
I don't need a show of that little in the kid with the bow. Like, I don't. Don't need more of him.
Yeah. I want more of Susie Pooh. Susie Pooh's family life. It could be like a TV, like a Netflix mini series of the life and times of Susie Pooh.
And we'd watch it.
Yeah.
I'd love. Can I bring up the music? Just generally the songs in this series, because music is so clearly important in this season.
Yeah, I was a little sad they didn't like armor up. Like, why don't they all have Walkmans with music tapes?
Exactly. That was one of the questions I had. Was like, why wouldn't you immediately go, right? What's the song that would save me?
Mm-hmm.
If tries to get me, what song do I need you to put in my ears to bring me back? And I think Erin says that the original score is amazing, and it is. It's one of the few intros that I don't want to skip when I hear the music. I love the music. It's so atmospheric, and dark, and it just gets me ready for what's about to come.
It's short too, which is nice,
and it is short, which I like. But the songs, "Dream a Little Dream of Me." So my degree was in music, and I was a jazz singer. So I sang a lot. I sang "Dream a Little Dream of Me" quite a lot in when I was singing in jazz bands. But I think they're both that one and "Running Up the Hill." I think there is significant meaning with the two songs, with what's going on in what the character scenes are, and I wondered what your thoughts of that would be, because "Running Up the Hill," the lyrics in that song, it's all about running up the hill, make a deal with God, and I would change our places. And I wondered if that's Max's guilt about what happened to Billy and wanting to sort of maybe swap places or change what's happened between them. And that's why that song is particularly significant to her now, why she listens to it a lot, why it's her favorite song right now, and what brings her back to it brings her back to Earth, basically. And then you've got "Dream a Little Dream of Me," and I'm wondering if that has some kind of significance as well, because that was covered by most people know it from the Mama Cass version, the Mamas and the Papas, that one. Do you know which song I mean? Because it's a beautiful song, and this one is Ella Fitzgerald in the show. And I wonder if that has a significance to one, or is his name Stephen? I want to say Stephen. No, it's not Stephen.
I don't think so. If it is, I mean, I guess it's possible. I don't remember them calling him Stephen.
I remember what his name is. The brother, the son, the boy, him, his. I wonder if there is a musical significance between him and the father, and why that particular song was the father's song. I'm just trying to think of the lyrics. Stars shining bright around me. But
I'm like doing research right now.
I'm gonna look it up now myself. But I wonder, because the "Running Up the Hill" thing really genuinely makes me think. Yeah, sweet dreams till sunbeams find you. I just wonder if there is a musical significance to the particular songs that they've chosen, or the ones that bring them back.
I would not be surprised if there is. The actor's name is Jamie Campbell Bower as Peter Ballard, Henry Creel 1 / Vecna.
Okay.
So not Stephen.
Not Stephen.
It doesn't surprise me because they've already got a
I knew it was Henry. I knew it deep down. Yeah, I knew it was something like that. Henry, Stephen, it's basically the same.
It is like they're almost identical.
Yeah, almost, apart from most of the letters. Yeah, but I just wondered what your thoughts were on that, on the musical significance.
I mean, they definitely want to punch nostalgia buttons with those of us that grew up around that music, which I did. You know, I did not sort of discover music until maybe like the alternative scene started to take off. That's the music that still speaks to me to this day. Y'all don't crucify me. I kind of don't love 80s synth pop. I love music of all kinds. I'm very musical, but I don't love 80s synth pop. It is what it is. But they definitely want to be hitting that nostalgia thing with us. And as you say, lyrically, something about the image of running up a hill it's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's hard work. Max has got a lot of hard work ahead of her to heal. And the idea of like wanting to trade places, she maybe a part of her does feel like it would be easier if she had traded places with Billy in that moment. And of course we have, you know, when she first winds up in the Upside Down and she sort of sees a vision of Billy. It's not really him. I'm sure it's just a nightmare generated by Vecna. Where her guilt about her feeling, her mixed emotions. Because let's face it, Billy was garbage, man. He was.
He was racist and awful and aggressive.
They had to replace Steven as the Dick character.
Yeah.
After everyone liked him. They succeeded because he was definitely another step higher up as an antagonist.
And speaking of Steven, how and Max and how all the Vecna stuff is based on guilt about things that people have done, or things that weren't their fault that they feel guilty about. Like you've got the newspaper guy with Nancy, who clearly had a car accident and he blames himself for it.
Yeah.
But Chrissy's, what in the fuck was that?
Oh,
I need to go back.
Fat shaming her.
Okay. Yeah. But did she do anything wrong though, or is it just like just having any amount of guilt about something? Is that enough for Vecna to target?
Her parents seem to have died, and her dad with goo in his mouth, and her mum at the sewing machine. I don't sew, so it took me a long time to remember what that was. Sewing machine, like, I'll bake you a nice pretty dress. What the hell did Chrissy do, and why does she feel so guilty about it?
So in the Vecna Forgotten Realms wiki, it describes kind of his power, Vecna's personality, in that believed that every being in existence held a single secret that could be manipulated to bring about its destruction. Uncovering that secret and exploiting its truth were the key to gaining dominion over others. And I feel like that is definitely directly taken from D&D and applied to this character.
That's a good point, because I don't know that there is the same sort of trauma there for Chrissy, but she definitely has the like body image issues, because we hear echoes of her mother calling her fat. Oh, I'm just going to let out this dress a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. And she was being sick in the toilet as well.
Yeah, I thought that might be like a pregnancy thing early on, but I think it's.
Yeah, I wondered because I got fairly sexual assaulty vibes from what's his name, Jason.
Yeah,
I kind of thought my first initial thought was, oh, he's a rapist.
Yeah.
But when
It
I
hasn't
saw
been
him like,
touched
I
since.
love you, mwah, at
Yeah.
the initial thing, I thought, oh, he's a bit rapey, isn't he? And I wonder, because she looked like, so I wonder if there's a pregnancy thing there. Like, was she pregnant? And
I think they dropped that. I don't think it's addressed, and it's
No, I think it's
left entirely. I
bulimia.
think it's bulimia too. Yeah, I think it is that.
Yeah.
I knew something was going to happen with that though, and you know what? Yeah, she gets killed off, and he becomes one of the main antagonists of the series.
What's interesting though is Vecna keeps their bodies in his little.
He absorbs them and absorbs their power, just their essence.
In his, his weird little palace of dungeon craziness that Max goes into, and she's like, "I don't think he wanted me in there," which is like where the
where he had the Muppet like trophies almost.
Yeah. So he has Chrissy and I forget his name, the newspaper guy, that's he has their bodies like with the kind of gooey in their mouth, and I'm wondering why he has their bodies there. Like why? What's the purpose of that? Why does he need them there?
I think it's just an effect of his power. Like he's because one was when in that megalomaniacal scene there at the end, he's like talks about he's absorbing them into himself, taking on their powers maybe. And I think that's just when he's casting this. When he's on the Upside Down, he's casting these spells. It's just a continuation of that feature of his abilities.
Yes.
And,
yeah.
Or maybe he just likes trophies too.
Maybe he likes trophies. That's his like serial killer murdery.
I don't know. There's something more going on that we still don't have. There's a reason they've cut off these last 2 episodes and moved them. They want us talking about it and thinking about it for a month. And
they said that they aren't done like editing the last 2 episodes too. Like I'm expecting like balls to the wall epic shit.
But I think part of that is like they've all brought it up several times. Why now? Why teen?
Yeah, why now?
And that remains a legitimate question in universe, even after what we've been told. Okay, we got a whole bunch of stuff about who Vecna is.
Yeah.
But we still don't know why now.
Yeah. Exactly. Why now? And what is the significance of all the gates that he's opening? And it's complicated. Like I think speaking of the last 2 episodes, we've got quite a lot of factions of people and different groups to bring together because there's several baddies. Because you've got Vecna, but you've also got you've got the Owens people, Owens and Brenner, and all of the people like the police that then basically immediately after being assigned a protect these kids case just decided to sit on their asses and watch TV and then got shot. But you've got that whole faction, the people in that silo, which I'm wondering if that because Owen says emphatically, "There's no bomb in here," which to me is like a kind of there's a bomb in here. I don't know. I just wonder if that's going to come up at some point that they're in a massive missile silo. But you've got all the people in there. So you've got that faction. You've got the kind of other part of the U.S. Army, whoever the other people are.
The one looking for them.
Looking for them.
Yeah, they're looking for 11, and they want to get her, or they say that they want to get her. That she's in danger. Like, do we really know what their MO is? We don't really know who's after whom, and then you've got to get Joyce and Hopper back from the USSR and Murray, obviously, because Murray's very important. I need him for my comedy value. Plus, you've got to get all of the Californian lot towards Hawkins.
And they're headed towards 11 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. She's in Nevada somewhere, isn't she?
They have her coordinates.
Yeah, Aaron says the other faction thinks 11 is the danger, and maybe they do, and maybe she is. I mean, we don't.
I mean, she's definitely she's a threat. Like she is a big unknown. on her own, she could probably destroy the world if she opens up enough portals.
Basically, like she's got power to do anything.
Yeah.
And they can't control that. So,
nope.
So there's a lot of still mysteries, but also a lot of people to kind of essentially get in the room with a fuck ton of guns, probably.
Yeah.
Missiles, 11. And whatever else, and then nerdy amazingness that probably Dusty Bun and Susie Poo were going to bring to it, and all of that lot, and the kids will solve it because obviously they're the Goonies. They're going to solve it. They're going to figure it out.
I loved the moment early in this season where they kind of reintroduced us to Susie Poo, where she's changing Dustin's grade.
Yeah.
That
was so great.
Mm-hmm.
And then she has a computer over
what the heck is the internet?
Yeah, I like that little side, chuckle too.
How excited will they be when eventually they hit the internet? What's the internet? What is that? It's amazing when they finally get Wi-Fi and just.
No, I mean again, those kids are 50 today in 2022.
Yeah. Don't know. I'm not far from that.
Except the ones that are dead. Who's dead by the end of the story?
Who's dead? I don't know. I'm wondering if I think someone or people are going to die before the end of. I think
so too.
And I was wondering who that might be, and I did wonder if it will be 11. I don't think she can survive personally.
Oh.
And if she does, I do wonder if that'll be her at some point.
Oh, this is an excellent question, Aaron.
Yeah.
Do you guys think one story about Brenner wanting 11 dead had any truth to it, or was it just a lie to manipulate her? Here's what I think. I think what he was telling her was true, but I don't think Brenner wants 11 dead. I think he wanted the other people to attack her to unlock 11's potential.
Yeah,
I can see that, but I also think that one telling her this was pure manipulation by one to get her to remove his chip so that he could go and exact his vengeance and start to create this new world he's wanted to do for so long with her, because he sees her potential and he wanted her to join him.
Yeah, I don't think we can necessarily trust anything he says.
No, I wouldn't.
He is a baddie, and therefore anything that comes out of his mouth has potential to be incorrect and a lie, which is why we can't necessarily trust what he finally says in that long bit of exposition as to really what went on. I
feel like he was being earnest. When he was showing and kind of what 11 was remembering. I feel like he was actually trying to recruit her. He was laying it all out because he wanted her on his side.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe he was, but even so, before that point, I think the manipulation was. I don't know. It was definitely there. It was definitely manipulation there. Definitely. There's a lot of gross things in that series when he finally does kill everyone.
Yeah.
It's gross.
I think that's a solid counterpoint, Aaron, about 11 could have just left.
Yeah.
Could have just left him there.
No, but he was the one person that was showing her any kindness. She's not going to leave him behind.
She does say, "You helped me, I'll help you."
Exactly.
And she's got those sort of simple codes. She's very naive. I mean, these kids have been raised literally in a tunnel under earth.
But is he going to bank on her doing that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is a lot of assumptions. If I do this, she will definitely follow me and not just be like, fuck it, I'll save my
I don't. He's grown up in an environment though where that type of manipulation is just built into the fabric of their existence.
Yeah.
He was the first one to go through it, and then they perfected all the manipulations with him, and now they've got the shot collars, they've got the papa, Like all these plastic things to get these little kids to see what's happening to them as okay and as something that they want to be awarded. They want to beat each other up to get an extra hour of free time, or to go up against each other for a piece of candy. Like that is the level of control that this organization has over these kids.
Yeah, it broke my heart to see Paul Reiser standing next to Matthew Modine this season.
Yeah, that was horrible. I didn't like that.
But I'm guessing that Owens, I mean, he said as much. He really does think that that 11 is their only hope.
Yeah.
I did like that random gun battle in the middle of that was episode 3-ish. When they break into the house and
it was good.
Like that was very well choreographed. My main gripe is that the African American guard who was shot in the chest, like it looked like a lung shot to me. There was no way he was going to be sitting there untreated for what looked like a couple hours, because it was daytime when the attack happened and nighttime when he gets treated. It's like, I don't think you're alive.
Yeah.
TV logic.
It's like that. Yeah. But maybe, I mean, in California you have 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of. So maybe it was just.
Aaron says the most. Was when
I like that too.
11 belts Brenner with the shock pedal. I actually, and this is probably horrible on my part, but the roller skate incident, I was just like, kind of had it coming.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, something we haven't talked about yet is Lucas and his whole character arc.
Oh yeah,
which I've liked too. Like this
solid point to bring up. We've only got 10, 12 minutes left in the stream, so let's make sure we give Lucas some love, because that guy can act too.
Oh yeah,
and great.
And you really feel that sort of like he so wants to reconnect with Max, but he doesn't know how to bridge that gap. He so wants to still be a part of this Hellfire thing with his friends, but he wants what he wants, that feeling of belonging.
With everyone, not just core group of people. Like I don't know how the rest of you are, but give me a core group of a couple people and I'm fine.
Yeah, but not everybody's like that. Something like he wants to not feel like the outcast.
Yeah.
He wants to be a cool kid, basically.
And I like that the first episode for him. Like he finally gets his moment, like that moment for he got to shine. Gets into it though, and then he has this like. He's still a good kid at heart, and when as the basketball team just goes down this awful rabbit hole of believing that Eddie somehow is a Satan worshiper, that he nopes out of there at the right time.
Yeah,
his allegiance still is with his friends,
because he knows who he is deep down. That's what it is. He knew truly. Deep down that you're a nerd. One can try to pretend that one is anything but deep down in your heart, right here, there's a part of you that will always be a D&D playing nerd. And he's not a real jock. Like that's not his thing. He's
athletic.
Yeah, he's athletic. He's good at it, but he's mainly on the bench anyway. But his heart's not in it. His heart is somewhere else, and that's the point. Like his formative years were with his friends playing D&D in the basement.
And he really wants to be there for the D&D thing. He just can't be in two places at once.
No.
Yep.
And can I just add some props to his sister, because
that girl is fantastic.
She is such a good actor.
My favorite. I just love her. I want to be her when I grow up. Because she's amazing. I love her. I love her so much. She's just a badass.
Just walks in that room and I don't care if I'm a middle schooler. Like my 14th level rogue is gonna just eviscerate your ass.
Yep. And she gets the nat 20 when she needs it.
Yeah.
So I was watching their die rolls in that scene. Yeah. I'm like, why are you rolling a D10, the D100 die?
Yeah, I had to just close my eyes.
And a D, I think it was a D8. Like, what are we rolling here?
I think they were just going nuts on the dice. I had to close my eyes and pretend that I wasn't watching that bit.
Yeah, it's like when somebody's playing piano on TV, and you can that's not how you actually play piano, or they're playing a video game. That's not it.
Oh, video games, that's a big one for me. Like you're just smashing buttons. Is what you're doing. You're playing a racing game.
When Benedict Cumberbatch and Sherlock plays the violin, I have to. You've seen Sherlock, right? When he plays it, and it's just I played violin. I'm a nerd. Played violin at school, and honestly, it's like, oh God, please could we not do this, because it's awful having to watch him play this so badly. It ruins it for me. But
one thing I want to make sure I bring up, and then I'll just turn the floor over to you guys, and you can say whatever you want about it, whatever you want. But one thing that I did that has stuck out to me is that from the Satanic Panic came this idea that playing Dungeons and Dragons was going to turn your kids into murderous monsters. Mm-hmm. Whereas the exact opposite is what's happening here, is that the idea of hunting down these D&D players is turning the entire town into they're doing a manhunt, and the jock kids are carrying around baseball bats and the big wrenches, pipe wrench. There you go.
Yeah.
They're being affected and becoming the threat that they are trying to oppose.
Exactly. And I think the show is doing a good job of showing that too. It's like that.
If that's any kind of occultist sort of pitchforks, torch lit kind of anything other, that's what happens. And the people doing the hunting literally become worse than the people who were just doing whatever it was that they were just trying to innocently do. Yeah. And that happens everywhere the world over, whether it's D&D or reading certain books or certain religions, anything. Like, you end up, the people who want to get rid of it just end up 10,000 times worse.
I was a little frustrated with the adults in two of the scenes. The first one being when 11 is showing off her diorama of her father, and the teacher basically just stands back and allows the bully to talk for so long. Like, I would have shut that down real quick if I was in that situation. And then when the police chief allows Jason to just do his entire speech without doing anything.
I mean, the fact that they allow 11 to be questioned without an adult present, and a number of things,
that was like, even in town, it's like,
in a kind of prison and whatever. Creepy. Like, this is just not, this wouldn't happen. But I think it's TV, so at a certain point you do have to go, okay, I need to suspend this disbelief and put it over here. And
right. Well, if you look at 80s movies, especially 80s movies, geared at kids, movies like Stand By Me and Goonies and Gremlins, and the children in those movies can do anything.
Yeah.
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 So, and there is a certain amount of that quality applied to this show. The kids are capable of doing anything. They get scared, but they're smart and capable.
Yeah.
And
they're the heroes.
Right.
Mm-hmm. The parents just are there because they have to be there.
Right.
It relies on parents being basically stupid and having no interest in their children.
Exactly. Like, we didn't even meet Dustin's mom until season 2.
Dusty Bun! I love you, Dusty Bun. You've got a weird pet.
Yep.
You found him.
Yeah, Mike's dad is.
Yeah, Mike's dad is terrible. Ugh. He's awful. He's the worst, or the worst, as people say.
Well, y'all, we're in the last 5-ish minutes. Any final thoughts? And if not, just give me a prediction for the last 2 episodes.
My first comment is, and this is my first time being on here as a co-host. I wasn't sure how we were going to fill 2 hours worth of material, and now here at the end, and there's still more I want to talk about. Probably another hours of the content.
Yeah, so I feel like we could take a lot there.
Yeah. it'll sneak up on you, won't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe one of my favorite scenes was either that last part of chapter 4 where Max is escaping from the Upside Down, like running through that. That was pretty epic. What were some of the other seasons? End of season 7 or episode 7 was pretty epic as well, with the banishing of Vecna. There was just several good cliffhanger endings, very cinematic. That I'm pretty impressed with throughout the whole thing.
How about you, Stef?
I mean, one thing that I remember quite a lot was the disgustingness of Hopper's foot being broken and a metal thing put up and down it several times, which made me want to puke into my own mouth quite a few times, watching him just basically, and then run on it quite a bit. I kept thinking, you've got
in the snow. It made my feet hurt.
No, yeah, it's like, okay, hopefully he didn't have to go very far. Like, he did have his vehicle, so that's true. Was a big factor, I'm sure.
Maybe the snow helped because it made him not feel his feet.
With the number of soldiers shooting at him,
yeah,
at least one bullet. I feel like
they were stormtroopers, so let's.
Yeah, they were stormtroopers. Like, that's everywhere.
They can shoot blasters, but one punch to the face kills them. But I don't know. I'm really looking forward to the conclusion of this season.
I am too. Like, we got so many narrative things to wrap up.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have many predictions. I feel like there's just lots of mysteries. I'm not sure we have the full Vecna story just yet. I feel like there may be one extra sort of slot in the bridge just to get us going. Oh shit, yeah! Because I'm just not sure, and I think Victor may come back into it somewhere. I'm not sure, but generally, I'm just really excited for how we're going to conclude this season, and then beyond that, how the whole story, because we are going to find out, like the Duffer Brothers have said, that we're going to find out more about the Upside Down and basically the origins of the Upside Down and how the heck it's there. Okay. And I'm really excited to complete that circle and finally understand and have all the answers to the questions that we may have. Yeah. About the Upside Down and about Hawkins, about what's going on about 11, and I'm just, I can't wait to have all of that. So
I'm right there with you. So no predictions really from you, Stef.
I don't know. Other than deaths, I'm always predicting a death.
Okay, that's my only prediction too. Is that I have a death. I'm predicting a death as well.
Yeah, I wonder if 11. I just can't see 11. I feel like she might sacrifice herself or something.
She sacrificed her powers at the end of last season. I feel like that was probably the biggest loss of that, which is a big loss for the character and for the whole team.
Maybe 11 will die at the end of next season, but I don't think
she'll die at this one, but she'll maybe die at the end of the whole of the series.
But my prediction is that Eddie's not making it out the end of the season.
No, Eddie.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's not making it.
What about Mike or Will? Do we see either of them getting offed?
Do they get off with each other? Is that what you mean?
Sure. What happened there, and then they'll die.
Yeah.
If this was an 80s, 90s movie, that's what would happen.
Yeah, right. As soon as they have sex, they're just dead.
They're dead. That's it.
Oh, Aaron says maybe Murray too.
Oh, I don't want Murray to die. He'll die though.
Yeah.
He's a minor character. He'll probably die.
We had Hopper. Hopper died.
Yeah, Hopper died, but he came back and
immediately.
He jumped. Yeah.
But then he had amnesia and he came back to life. Never mind.
Yeah, that was.
He was in the shower the whole time. So, yeah. Can't wait to see.
All right. Well, that is 2 hours of content delivered to you free through YouTube today, folks. Thank you for joining us. I'm ready to wrap this up. I gotta go pee. I'm a smoker. I gotta do all that stuff. So, thank you so much for joining us, though, William, Stef. It was a joy to have you both.
Thank you.
Stef, stay on the line for a minute after we finish up.
Cool.
And we'll chat real quick. But to everybody who was here live, thank you so much, and thank you for contributing your thoughts and ideas to the conversation. For those of you watching later, thanks for watching it on the rewatch. It's more awesome if you're here when we're doing it live, but if you can't make it then, it's still nice to have you watching us after the fact. Again, follow William, follow Stef on Twitter. They're both great, wonderful people. Follow me. My stuff's down there as well. John and Nessie will be back next week. I'm not sure what we're talking about, but we'll see. We've been talking about doing some Star Trek stuff soon, and anyway, we'll see. What else do we got? I'm not sure what next week's topic is even. Everything's a little bit up in the air because this guy right here, this guy, Voice of Geekdom, is coming to the United States in a couple of weeks, and both John and Nessie are going to be hanging out with him. I couldn't quite make it, couldn't afford the time off from work to make it. William, you're actually going to be there too, aren't you?
I will be there, yeah.
Yeah, the whole bunch of people are going to go hang out in the Virginia area with Dan.
Why don't you mail us a picture of your head and we can carry you around?
Yeah, okay.
You're there in spirit.
Dude, just get me on Zoom and I'll walk around with you.
You get one of those things with your head on a tripod with a camera right here, so you can watch.
And you put it on a little Segway deal so I can roll around. Okay, so I can kind of be there. Anyway, so we'll have a few more weeks coming up here before long where it'll just be me and whoever I can grab from the fan community. Awesome people like William and or Stef. So again, to you both, thanks so much for joining me this week. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you for having me.
We're gonna have you back. I'm gonna drag you kicking and screaming. You were a good guest. But yeah, until then, we'll see you all next week. Until next time, peace and be excellent to each other.